Hello everyone, hope y'all have been doing great. If you spent any time in the nail polish community, there are certain polishes we hear about over and over again, cult classics. I thought it'd be fun to start a new series where I try out cult classics from every brand, beginning with 3 iconic shimmer polishes that y'all have all probably heard of if you're in the indie space. We have Lumen Glass Frog, Ethereal Lacquer Ether Dragon, and Polish for Days Lush. Underneath all my swatches today, I'll be using Hollow Taco Pink Smoothing Base to help minimize my staining and blur my nail line a bit. I thought long and hard about this, literally thought longer than I probably should have, and I decided a blurring base would be more realistic to how most people would use these polishes, rather than a clear base since these are all designed to be sheer polishes. Starting off, we have Lumen Glass Frog, which has a shimmery blue base with a blue to violet to green shift. Glass Frog was inspired by the strange and beautiful glass frog creatures, and this polish was originally offered in Polish Pickup in March 2023. Glass Frog was very successful, inspiring a whole glass animal collection by Lumen, and is returned for Polish Pickup Rewind for the second time now, as indicated by the V3 on the bottle. Although all the same pigments are used, there can be slight variations in the pigments over the years, hence the V3. I have been wanting this polish for so long. I wasn't really following PPU until this year-ish, and maybe end of last year, so I thought I had missed out on this. I assumed if a polish had already been voted back once, it won't come back again, but to my surprise, it returned again this year. So if you're seeing this and falling in love with Glass Frog, it could come back for Rewind again next year. The criticisms I hear about this polish is that it's very sheer, but I don't mind visible nail line. I believe this was designed and meant to be a sheer polish, so VNL enjoyers or simply acceptors, my channel is a safe space for us. Here is Lumen Glass Frog in 3 coats with the glossy top coat. This polish is gorgeous, as you can see. It's so unbelievably glowy, glassy, and shimmery. Really reminds me of a Glass Frog. They got the inspo spot on. The glow is actually unreal and it looks so gorgeous in all lighting. It looks way better in person than I can even capture on camera. I know I say that all the time about a lot of different polishes, but that's truly how I feel. I love the way this looks equally beautiful in both bright light and low light. And VNL haters, it's part of the look. It's supposed to be sort of see-through like a Glass Frog. And it's like faux French tip vibes. I just love it so much. Also, little update, I wore this one out and when my boyfriend saw it, he was like, wow, I really like this one. This one's so good, or something like that. So yeah, and it's 12 a.m. as I'm recording this right now just to insert that little tidbit. That's why I'm trying to be a little quiet. Moving on, next we have Ethereal Lacquer Ether Dragon, which is a pale lilac base with large particle shimmer that shifts from green to aqua to blue. Also a Polish Pickup shade that was originally offered in November 2023. I believe this is also the second time Ether Dragon has come back, although not indicated on the label. I almost didn't purchase this one because I thought it would be too similar to Glass Frog, and I was like, I don't need both. It sold out very quickly on the PPU site when it came back this year though. I'm pretty sure within the first hour if I'm remembering right, and I started feeling a little FOMO. They then restocked more bottles and that's when I grabbed it and decided I could use it for a video concept like this. And it for sure is a similar vibe to Glass Frog, but you can probably tell from the initial application they're pretty different as well. Most notably, the base color of Ether Dragon is much less apparent than in Glass Frog. It's showing up very golden yellowy on camera, although it's described as a pale lilac. It's not so yellow in person, but I don't see lilac either. I would describe it more like a neutral, light brownish, pinkish color, but also depends on the lighting. And just like Glass Frog, so glowy and shimmery, and so beautiful in all lighting, especially in low light. And polishes that look just as beautiful in low light really impress me. The criticism I hear about this polish is the same as Glass Frog, that it's very sheer. Ether Dragon is sheerer than Glass Frog because it has a less pigmented base. I suppose some people would love this as a topper over other shades, and if you missed out, don't be too sad. There are lots of potential dupes for shimmer polishes like these. Here are some for Ether Dragon that I found on Reddit. I'll link this post down below as well as some dupes for Glass Frog. One polish I've heard as being a dupe for Ether Dragon is Polish for Days Lush, a bright lilac base with green to blue shifting iridescent shimmer. Luckily, Lush was not exclusive from a collab shop and is available to purchase from the Polish for Days site and is an iconic polish on its own, having stemmed many sibling shades, meaning same formula, different base color. So even just from the bottle, you can tell that Lush is way more bright purple than Ether Dragon. I heard this is mostly a dupe for how they look in low or indirect lighting, but some say it's even better because it has more color and opacity. Personally, I couldn't get this polish to full coverage even with 3 coats, but obviously it does have much more coverage than Ether Dragon or Glass Frog. Even if I just consider how it looks in low light, I wouldn't consider this a dupe to Ether Dragon because Lush has a very fine micro shimmer as opposed to the larger shimmer particle in Glass Frog and Ether Dragon. But I can see how they're similar and close enough if you aren't being too picky about it. Now, assessing Lush as a cult classic on its own without comparing it, I personally don't really love it. Because the shimmer particle is so fine, it acts kind of like a pearl polish where you have to be very careful about brush strokes and little imperfections can easily be visible. My application was pretty neat with straight brush strokes, but I just do not like brush strokes at all. I know some people love it because they say it elongates the nail, but I just can't. It also doesn't have the same glowy impact as the other 2 polishes I showed, although still glowy and shimmery in its own way. My index finger is also kinda ridgy and you can see the ridges pretty well through this polish. Finally, here's a comparison of all 3 iconic indie shimmer polishes next to each other. I have Glass Frog in 3 coats on my index finger, Ether Dragon in 3 coats on my middle finger, and Lush in 2 coats on my ring finger. I thought leaving Lush in 2 rather than 3 coats would make it more comparable to the other 2 polishes for the sake of comparison. All 3 polishes are very beautiful and I can totally understand the hype for them, except Lush maybe, but that's just my personal preference. Which of these polishes you like the best will come down to your personal preferences. If you prefer a more saturated base color and micro shimmer formula, I can see why you'd prefer Lush. The color and glow of the green shimmer looks very similar across all 3. The main differences being the base color and pigmentation and size of the shimmer particle. My favorite is Glass Frog. I have it on right now. I tend to swatch the polish I'm most excited about last regardless of how I order it post-editing so I can actually wear it longer and I can't stop staring at my nails. If you're sad you missed out on some of these polishes, I see Glass Frog and Ether Dragon in these stashes occasionally, and there are dupes out there like I showed earlier, and again they could come back for rewind for a 3rd time. I would join the Makers Facebook group if you want to participate and to vote for which polish comes back. But that's all for today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed this video and this new series. Let me know what you think and any suggestions for future videos. I'm definitely planning to do OPI next. I have 3 iconic OPI shades in mind. Essie also has a lot of cult classics, and for boutique brands, I would like to wait till Black Friday, but I'm open to suggestions. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know, was there a polish you bought due to how hyped it was? And if so, were you disappointed or pleasantly surprised? Sometimes when you get your hands on a polish you've been wanting for so long, it can be a bit of a letdown when you finally get it because you hype it up so much in your head, it's almost impossible to meet those expectations that you set. But luckily that wasn't the case with me for Glass Frog. It sucks sometimes when a cult classic is born from a collab shop like Polish Pickup, but I wonder if those polishes would have had the same impact on the community if it wasn't from PPU. Anyway, that's all from me for now. I'll see you all next time. Bye!